Well then, I'm off. Johnson, take care of the place while I'm gone.
Yes, sir.
Dressed in a suit, a young man named Johnson replies as he walks behind me. Behind Johnson, several other men followed in line. Man, every single time, I keep telling them I don't need everyone to see me off. Growing tired of this dreary scene, I walked down the long corridor, heading to the front door. Upon reaching the entrance and turning towards the group, everyone bowed their heads. And they all said in unison, "Take care." Jer, I responded. Just as I was about to leave, Johnson seemed to remember something and stopped me.
Oh, right, about the car.
What about the car?
It's in for maintenance today, so we have a loaner car.
Okay, so when will my car be back?
I've urgently requested our regular car dealer, so it should be back by this evening.
Got it, counting on you. After finishing the conversation with Johnson, I headed to the parking lot where his chauffeur, David, was waiting by the passenger side of a car. Hey, David, is that the loaner car?
Yes, it's a compact car, but...
There stood a cute, boxy compact car with a bunny emblem, painted in pink. I couldn't help but chuckle at its cuteness. Wow, quite the cute car there.
I'm sorry, it's a busy time for maintenance, so there weren't any other loaner cars available.
It's all right. I don't mind these types of cars. Modern compact cars have a good ride quality. Plus, David, I can trust any car you drive. I'm counting on you today.
Thank you for your kind words. Please, step in.
David opened the passenger side door for me. Once I settled in, David quietly closed the door and took the driver's seat.
Are we heading to that usual spot today?
Yes, that place. I looked at a postcard in my hand. Darn it, that idiot. I was wondering where he went after quitting my place, and now he's up to this. The postcard read, "It's been a while. I heard you recently celebrated your 60th birthday. I hope you're in good health. I, Kevin Miller, have opened a cafe. The name is Camphor Tree. I'd like to invite you over as a token of my gratitude and to celebrate your birthday. I hope to see you there."
Good to hear Mr. Miller is doing well. But a cafe, huh?
David chuckled as he started the engine. The irony was clear to both of them. Miller stands tall, probably exceeding 6 feet, with a robust physique, truly resembling the stature of an oak tree. Yet, his face is also quite intimidating. I can't imagine him running a cafe with that face.
You're right, but his dishes were top-notch.
Recalling the dishes Kevin Miller used to make, my mouth watered. Right, I remember. I'm looking forward to it. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
After about a 30-minute drive with David at the wheel, they reached the cafe. It was a quaint, log cabin-style single-story building, painted entirely in blue, looking nothing like something Mr. Miller would run. Well, it doesn't seem like Mr. Miller's style at all. As he admired the cafe through the front windshield, David opened the passenger door for him. After stepping out, David said, "I'll wait here for you, sir." Knowing how close David and Mr. Miller were, almost like brothers, I suggested, "No, you should come in too. It's been a while since you saw your big brother, hasn't it?" Upon hearing this, David's eyes lit up. "Really? May I?" With a chuckle, I nodded at David. "Yep, show your face to Miller."
Thank you.
And so, David, who usually waits in the car, decided to join me in the cafe today. When David opened the door of the cafe, the sound of a bell could be heard. Hearing the sound, a deep voice exclaimed, "Welcome to my cafe," a voice you wouldn't expect from such a cute-looking cafe. Hearing that voice, I couldn't help but laugh. "You seem well, Miller." Saying that and entering, a tall, imposing man wearing a cream-colored linen apron stood by the counter. The man looked surprised to see both David and me. But in an instant, he smiled brightly.
"I've been waiting for you."
David and I took our seats as directed by Miller.
"I'm so glad you came."
"You invite us with such a letter and then are surprised, in a cafe. That's unexpected for someone with your looks." Teasing him like that, Miller smiled. not minding it at all. He probably really wanted to run a cafe.
Yeah, fair point. I mean, look at this face. But cooking is my only talent, and I love it. I wanted more people to taste my homemade dishes.
So, a cafe, nice. We all loved the food you made. We cried when you left, thinking we'd have to eat Johnson's terrible cooking.
Oh, Johnson, huh? His cooking was dreadful.
So, can we taste your homemade dishes in this cafe? Without prolonging the chit-chat, I asked Miller if I could enjoy the homemade dishes I'd been looking forward to. Perhaps sensing my eagerness, Miller handed over the menu with a grin.
Yes, please choose anything. Here's the menu.
I examined the menu closely. Everything looked so tempting. As I was deciding, David eagerly raised his hand to order first.
Miller, may I order first?
Sure, what'll it be?
I'd like a strawberry sundae.
David's timid request made Miller frown.
Hey, how many times have I told you? Desserts aren't meals. If you want dessert, eat your dinner first. No sundae for you.
But I'm here as a customer today.
You're a customer, but you're also my younger brother. It's my duty to care for you. So, you're having an omelet.
An omelet? Awesome. Oh, no green peas, please.
Ours has green peas. No exclusions. Eat up.
Come on.
Seeing the banter between the two, I smiled fondly. It reminded me of their old playful exchanges. Then, I'll have the beef stew. I've been craving that tender meat simmered for hours.
Sure thing. Leave it to me.
I ordered the beef stew. David was more or less forced to order an omelet, and Miller went to the kitchen to prepare them. It was then. A loud thud was heard from outside. What was that?
Sounded from outside.
Looking out the window, we saw an unbelievable sight. A black sedan with a Mercedes-Benz emblem had crashed into our compact car. Hey, that car, I murmured in a low voice, clearly angered. David immediately stood up.
I'll check it out.
Just as he was about to leave the cafe, two men with tattoos peeking from their shirts entered.
Hey, our car got dinged by that cute pink compact car. Who's driving that thing?
We're mobsters, you know. You realize what'll happen if you don't step up now, right?
So they are low-level mobsters. David stands up to the thug's intimidation.
That car belongs to Mr. Miller. You guys were the ones who hit the parked car, weren't you?
As the three men glare at each other, the other patrons start murmuring. Seeing this, I stand up and head over to David. Stop it, David.
But
Think about where we are, fool. Being told that by the old man, David looked startled. Scanning the inside of the store, David, while glaring at the thuggish mobster, retreated. It seems he cools things off a bit.
Old man, are you the owner of that car? What a cute ride you've got there.
Because of that cute car, our luxury vehicle's bumper got scratched and dented. How are you gonna make this right, huh?
Facing the loud-mouthed low-level mobsters, I, trying to remain calm, offer a serene smile and bow my head. I apologize. It won't happen again. Will you forgive this? Bowing deeply in apology, the two thugs exchanged glances. And then, with a smug smirk, one of them seemed to come up with an idea. Hey, old man, he demanded.
Pay us $30,000 for damages and inconvenience.
Then we'll let you go.
Being confronted and demanded money after someone else hit their parked car. Such audacity. David, standing behind me, looks like he's about to explode at the wannabe gangster's demand, but I raise a hand to stop him. Then, I humble myself before the wannabe gangsters. Then, at my place.
At your place. You've got money there.
Whoa, rich guy. Well, we won't say no to that.
And so, without waiting for their orders, David and I reluctantly leave the cafe. Checking the car, we found that thankfully only the bumper is dented. With David driving, they decide to head back to my place. Upon arrival, they let the thugs park their luxury car and lead them to the front of the house. There, lined from the entrance to the gate, are tough-looking men in suits. At the entrance, Johnson stands ready. Upon seeing me, Johnson shouts.
Boss, welcome back.
Following Johnson's lead, all the lined-up men join in. Welcome back. Looking at the bewildered thugs, I say, this is my home. Now, follow me. The two thugs, looking paler by the second, simply mutter, what? You wanted money, right? Come on.
I mean,
We might have made a mistake.
Before they can move, another gang member hurriedly reports to Johnson.
Mr. Johnson, the stolen boss's car has been returned.
It's back. I thought it came back from the maintenance, but to think it was stolen by some random thugs. That's on me, a mistake I'll regret forever. Is the boss's car all right?
Well, there's a scratch and a dent on the bumper.
What? Who did this? Huh.
Seeing the panic of the other members, the two thugs shrunk back in fear. I turned to the two and said, now, let's hear your story. With my gentle smile. In the end, those two wannabe thugs are just low-level guys in my organization. In other words, they are just thugs trying to flaunt the name of my gang. The luxury car those two thugs were driving, that was my car. So when I saw that car at the diner, I was like, hey, that's my car, and I was visibly pissed. How did my car end up in the hands of such small fries? Here's what happened. The car dealer I had asked to maintain my car had brought it over and left the keys in while parking it to report to Johnson. Those two thugs, seized by some bad impulse, decided to take the car. By the time the car dealer guy came back with Johnson, the car was gone. Those two thugs, after getting the luxury car and driving it poorly, just happened to hit the car David and I were in when they decided to stop by a diner. It's something, huh? All these coincidences. Maybe it's because I'm the boss here. Right in front of me, those two thugs were kneeling, shaking with fear. Looking at those two thugs, I had a smirk on my face, but my eyes were cold as ice. Now, how are you gonna make up for stealing my car and then damaging it? Just as I was pondering that,
Let me handle the compensation.
a deep voice echoed. It was Miller. Miller appeared, carrying a dish on a large tray. Miller, what about your restaurant?
I left it to my staff. But boss, you can't just order food and leave. It got cold because of that.
Saying that, Miller placed beef stew in front of me. You brought it all the way here.
Yes, it was hectic. I bring the foods and neither you nor David are there. And there was a commotion in the diner.
Sorry about that, I said, starting to eat the beef stew. Indeed, as delicious as ever. I couldn't stop eating and quickly finished the beef stew. Now feeling full, I finally asked Miller about the compensation. So Miller, how do you plan on making them pay? It's a matter concerning my gang, even if it's you. I wouldn't allow it. But Miller nodded his head.
No, this is also a matter concerning my restaurant. The accident happened in my restaurant's parking lot, causing inconvenience to other customers and a drop in profit. Therefore, they should be dealt with accordingly here.
I see, Miller does have a point. The bigger victim here seems to be Miller, and it might be fair to let him handle it. However, my anger at my car being damaged wasn't something that could be easily suppressed, so I decided to ask Miller anyway. How do you plan on making them pay? Miller looked me straight in the eyes and replied,
I'll make them work for me. I'll take full responsibility and train them hard.
At his resolute answer, I burst out laughing. It's a great idea. Everyone knows Miller's the hardest taskmaster around, I said, laughing, while David looked quite dismayed.
Man, I kind of feel sorry for those guys now.
Seeing our reactions, the faces of those two thugs turned even paler. All right, I'll leave their punishment to you, Miller.
Thank you. Now, I'll take these two with me. Excuse us.
Saying that, Miller grabbed the two thugs by the scruff of their necks and started to leave the room. Watching Miller, I was reminded of my younger days when I used to grab a young, defiant Miller the same way. Back then, Miller was always rebelling, and I was always angry at him for it. Remembering that, I chuckled. Then, I called out, "Miller," stopping him in his tracks.
Yes, sir.
You left the gang, seemed to be having a tough time. I wondered if you'd changed. As a leader. No, as an older brother figure. I had my concerns, but I'm relieved to see you're still the same. Looking at you now, I can finally let you go with peace of mind. Stay strong out there. With those words, Miller replied with a big grin, "Got it." Just like he would in his younger days. Then, he left the house with 2 ruffians in tow. 2 months had passed since. Driving a freshly repaired car, David and I were headed somewhere. Upon reaching their destination, David and I stepped out of the car together and went into a store. The store's name was Camphor Tree. Yes, it was Miller's Cafe. As the booming voice of Miller echoed welcome, it was followed by "How can I help you?" from 2 younger men. "Hey, Miller, working hard?"
Yes, got my hands full. Watch and see. They're working hard, almost like they're paying off the car's repair costs.
That's good to hear. Watching the 2 hustling about, I guessed they must be under strict supervision. Observing the relationship between Miller and the 2, I felt the pang of losing such valuable members. I was planning to recommend Miller as the next boss. Yet, seeing Miller's cheerful service, I reconsidered. No, this is for the best. Sitting down, I placed his order with Miller. Braised pork belly. With a wry smile, Miller responded instantly, "We don't have that. Can you add it to the menu?"
Come on. That's the 3rd time you've asked. This ain't your personal cafe.
Can you make it happen?
Oh, all right. How about next month?
Miller, seeming exasperated but still yielding to Jack's requests, hadn't changed a bit. To that, I responded with a mischievous smile. Deal. No matter the circumstances, no matter the roles, the bond between Miller and I remains unbroken.